What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a little bit about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's recent gameplay showcase because Henry's come to see us. So, as part of the ongoing Gamescom event this year, we're getting all sorts of gameplay reveals and whatnot, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 just so happens to be on that list. Now, they did recently push the release date of this to February 11th, 2025, as opposed to just sometime in 2024 that it was previously, so we do have a full release date for this one as of now, and obviously they shared all of this info to coincide with that. Now, if I had to sum up just kind of in totality what this gameplay showcase was all about, I would mostly just say the first game, but bigger and hopefully better. Because if you've played the original title, it was a janky but otherwise really fun experience. And if they could take those systems and refine them, I think they'd have a great game on their hands, and that looks to be exactly what their approach was here. So let's talk a little bit about that. So obviously Henry is returning as our main character, and we are going to be playing as him, taking a guerrilla warfare approach to King Sigismund's machinations. So our main goal for the game, it would seem, is to unleash guerrilla warfare against King Sigismund, and what they had to show here gameplay-wise discussed tracking down 2 men-at-arms to, of course, help you with that fight. Sort of putting together a task force, if you will. And they used that as the framework to, of course, show us all sorts of other systems. Starting with having to wade through what can only politely be called sewage to fish out the corpse of a man we were sent to find, which turns into a fight against a bunch of peasants. And along the way, they use that to explain a few different systems and give you a look at them, of course. So first up, we have the hand-to-hand melee combat and just combat in general. So hand-to-hand, they've been basing it on actual wrestling moves, which I thought was a neat little anecdote, but otherwise, combat is largely what you remember from Kingdom Come Deliverance, albeit from this gameplay at least, maybe looking a bit smoother overall. It still has that sort of 5-point system and likely has the combos associated with those points to let you unleash attacks and try to get around guards and everything, though I am curious if the Master Strikes are returning and if they are as effective as they were in the original game as well. But largely, I would say this is a system you would be very familiar with if you've played the original. So it doesn't look like they're trying to reinvent the wheel on this particular one, but we do know that they have added guns in this particular game, or early variations of them, and a little later on they also talked about how it was possible for items to fail mid-combat, so things like shields and whatnot just hitting like 0 durability, I suppose, and disappearing from you, or falling apart, and that being something you have to look out for. Now, because Henry here had been wading through sewage in this particular demo, they used that as an opportunity to explain some of their world systems and how other characters react to you and the choices you've made, like, say, wading through sewage. Mostly, characters in that instance will tell you how terrible you smell, and they use that as a springboard to explain other systems and how all of the NPCs, especially in their big town hub of Kuttenberg, will have routines and go about their day as normal under most circumstances, but if you, the player, come along and interrupt that they will then react to it. For instance, if you're haggling with a merchant too much, they might get angry and just stop selling to you altogether. If you kill NPCs, you might come by later and see their family mourning them. And then, of course, all the standard expected things like, say, a justice system, or if you get caught doing evil deeds, let's say, you'll be appropriately punished as a response if you get caught. Now, what I'm curious about here is how much they brought forward from the original in terms of how much characters reacted to your clothing and stuff and how that affected, like, speech checks, as that was something that the, like, overall condition of your character would take into account. But this is the part I wanted to focus on a little bit, because while it does look like they're trying to expand a lot of those systems from the original, including, like, say, wearing armor when you're trying to be stealthy being obviously not something that's going to end well for you, but overall, my point being that this is an RPG, and a lot of this stuff is based off of skills and the like, so how those reactions of the world you are simulating hold up against stats and things that can kind of be utterly broken at times can cause a bit of, let's call it, narrative dissonance. And I'd be curious to see how the game handles that in particular, because a lot of games do this sort of facade really well where they show you those initial reactions, but the system isn't really any deeper than that, and that's the part that I would be curious about when they talk about this. Though they have mentioned a few places here and there that, things might have long-term consequences. Like if you've been repeatedly caught stealing and whatnot, they showed off that cutscene where like your character gets branded. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is I'm interested in what the long-term gameplay effects of something like that are, or if it's something that can be basically completely mitigated by stats to the point where no one cares anyway after a certain point. Or if that leads you to like a totally unique playthrough that can't really be replicated due to the way individual characters then respond to your actions. Which is what I'm hoping the game is, but from this little snippet of this that they showed us here, I don't think we really have a full answer on that one. Though along the way, they did actually mention that the original game's save system will be making a return. The original had you saving using Save Your Schnapps, a potion basically that you drank when you wanted to save. So it seems like that is going to be how they're doing it here as well. No word on if there will be alternatives or anything, though it kind of goes right in line with the original game's really cool take on an alchemy system where you like actually had to mix stuff up yourself. That's not the only thing I wanted to mention, because a few different places in dialogue and whatnot, it showed Henry trying to make a variety of different like sort of skill checks and naturally failing at a few, which I thought was kind of neat. So while we don't have like a full look at the exact breakdown of skills and everything for this one yet, it is shaping up to be every bit the RPG of the original, which I think is pretty exciting with some of these clear gameplay improvements. Though, all in all, to wrap up this video, while I will say that this showcase did not answer every question that I had or anything, I do think it was a great look at the game, especially as I'm sure they begin to ramp up their marketing ahead of the game's release in February. And I, for one, at the very least, am certainly looking forward to learning more about it. But that is pretty much going to do it for this video today. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. Let me know how you feel about this one down in the comment section below. Though regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.